Trump breaking news today. The war against disinformation and how Trump's allies are winning it. A movement in Washington arose after the January 6, 2021, riot on Capitol Hill to curb the barrage of falsehoods that had incited the attack on the orderly handover of power. Following their use of the platforms to disseminate false information regarding his loss and instigate the effort to reverse it, social media companies removed Donald J. Trump, who was then president, and numerous of his associates. There was an effort to increase oversight of the corporations by the Biden administration, congressional Democrats, and even a small number of Republicans. How to better monitor bogus posts was a conundrum for academics. Rather than letting what they saw as a potentially harmful attempt to muzzle conservatives slide, Mr. Trump and his supporters launched an organized counteroffensive. It is undeniable that they have succeeded. The fight to protect elections in the age of social media from disinformation has been a savage one, fought in the halls of Congress, the courts, and the fiery depths of the internet. Critics claim it distorted the already heated discussion about free speech and the government's ability to regulate online content. Formerly bipartisan projects, such as one initiated by the Trump administration, have now been reframed as election rigging plots orchestrated by the deep state. As a result of political and legal backlash, the Biden administration has mostly scrapped plans to limit free speech in politics. The initiative has paved the way for Mr. Trump to try to regain the presidency, even though most Americans haven't noticed it. News feeds are once again rife with election-related disinformation, which is helping Mr. Trump fuel his resurgence by spreading lies about the 2020 race. Starting his campaign for 2024 with the slogan "The censorship cartel must be dissolved and destroyed, and it must happen soon," he unleashed his rhetoric. Former Trump associates and aides who sought to reverse the 2020 election also spearheaded the counteroffensive. Among them are Republican attorneys general from Missouri and Louisiana, White House policy advisor Stephen Miller, and members of Congress such as Ohio Republican Jim Jordan, who has been leading a House subcommittee to study what it terms the weaponization of government since last year. Those involved receive funding from conservative benefactors who have supported groups that spread false information regarding the 2020 election. Among the colorful characters they've collaborated with are Elon Musk, the billionaire who pledged to turn Twitter into a safe haven for free speech, and Mike Benz, a former official in Trump's administration who created content for an account that promoted white ethnic displacement. Recently, Mr. Benz was the one who falsely claimed that the Pentagon had a psychological operation asset in Taylor Swift. Are Soho houses necessary for Portland? Is it necessitating one? I wanted to know if my mom was ready to die. Everybody has their spot at the London Book Fair, welcome. Mr. Trump and his associates have accomplished a remarkable turnaround in online fortune 3 years after his statements regarding stuffed vote boxes and fraudulent voting machines became popular. There are fewer safeguards in place on social media sites to prevent the deliberate dissemination of election-related falsehoods. Activists sought to silence academic Kate Starbird of the University of Washington for her work on disinformation because the folks that benefit from the propagation of disinformation have effectively silenced many of the people that would try to call them out, as Starbird put it. In an effort to thwart foreign meddling with American democracy, it targeted a hodgepodge of measures that had begun under Mr. Trump's administration. Social media corporations were under increasing pressure from government authorities and private researchers to crack down harder on harmful content as these systems developed to combat domestic sources of disinformation. As a result of that effort, the Supreme Court will hear arguments in one of the most consequential First Amendment issues of the Internet era on Monday. Missouri and Louisiana's attorneys general have sued, claiming that federal authorities manipulated or conspired with the platforms to remove political speech that is critical of the government. A possible limitation on government discretion in internet content monitoring could result from the court's June ruling. In an era of limitless internet communications, where anyone can reach massive numbers of people with unverified and misleading information, the arguments delve into a deeply debated issue in contemporary American politics: how do we balance the need to protect democracy with the right to free speech?